The latest attack on basically the outlets that allow me to speak the truth to you, so many other independent voices. You've seen them crush these social media outlets and crush our individual channels, right? They brought Facebook under control. They brought YouTube under control. Twitter's arguable. Twitter, they suppressed a lot of things. Then Elon Musk bought it. Now it's a little more open, but honestly, he suppresses what he wants to. If you're a union and start talking about unionizing Elon's Tesla factories, then you're going to get banned too. So, like, we saw them bring all these various companies, social media companies, under the grasp of the chains of the U.S. ruling elite to allow the censorship of whatever they kind of wanted, and perpetrating the entire Russiagate hoax, which has all been debunked and collapsed, and yet they continue to act like it's somehow real. There's WikiLeaks. There's TikTok, right? They couldn't control TikTok, so they were forced to sell the U.S. billionaires. They can't control Rumble, so Rumble has been banned in France, and they're working on censoring it in other countries. I believe Britain has put forward some laws that make it incredibly difficult for Rumble to operate, and there was a time where Rumble thought they might have to pull out of Britain. I don't know where that stands now, but they continue to go after Rumble. And one of the last remaining ones is Telegram. Now, I've never had a Telegram channel just because I'm just exhausted from creating new channels every 2 weeks. So I never created one. Maybe I should have. Anyway, they couldn't control Telegram. They couldn't stop it. It was created by a Russian who then didn't like the restrictions he was getting in Russia. And so he moved to Dubai or somewhere. And then he was just arrested. The breaking news is he was arrested in France. And Tucker Carlson, who I have about 1,000,001 problems with what he stands for, but he put it pretty well. Pavel Durov left Russia when the government tried to control his social media company, Telegram. But in the end, it wasn't Putin who arrested him for allowing the public to exercise free speech. It was a Western country, a Biden administration ally. He likes to throw Biden in there as if any U.S. state wouldn't do this. This is just the U.S. empire. You don't have to act like it's Biden. Trump would have done it. Obama would have done it. Bush would have done it. They're all trying to crush these platforms. Let's remember that the hit that was put out, the assassination plan on Julian Assange, was done during the Trump administration, okay? The vast majority of the suppression on Facebook was done during the Trump administration after 2016. Much of the suppression done to RT and RT America was done during the Trump administration. The Biden administration ally and enthusiastic NATO member that locked him up. France arrested him. Pavel Durov sits in a French jail tonight, a living warning to any platform owner who refuses to censor the truth at the behest of governments and intel agencies. Darkness is descending fast on the formerly free world. I thought he put that pretty well. So here's the Guardian report on it. And the Guardian, of course, is they're sacks of shit in their own way. They completely abandoned Julian Assange after working with him. They did joint reporting. And then when the U.S. empire came after him, the Guardian said, Julian who? Unfamiliar. I don't know. Who's this Julian guy you're talking about? What do you mean? But in this article, they get most things right. The title is What the Telegram Founder's Arrest Means for the Regulation of Social Media Firms. They start off the article with, so we've entered a world in which the CEOs of major social networks are arrested and detained. That's quite a shift, and it didn't come in a way anyone was expecting. Jennifer Rankin in Brussels says French judicial authorities on Sunday extended the detention of Russian-born founder of Telegram, Pavel Durov, after his arrest at a Paris airport over alleged offenses related to the messaging app. When this phase of detention ends, the judge can decide to free him or press charges and remand in further custody. French investigators had issued a warrant for Durov's arrest as part of an inquiry into allegations of fraud, drug trafficking, organized crime, promotion of terrorism, and cyberbullying. Basically, they threw every charge they have in their book at this guy for creating an app and a platform that doesn't censor people like me. They're so furious that there is a platform that allows the truth about France, about the U.S. empire, France being part of the U.S. empire now. I view Europe as a vassal states. If you aren't willing to censor all of it for the empire, then they will come after you. And now they're arresting CEOs of these platforms. By the way, he has French citizenship. Durov, who holds French citizenship, along with Emirati, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Russian. Telegram put out a response saying Telegram abides by EU laws, including the Digital Services Act. Its moderation is within industry standards and constantly improving. Telegram CEO Pavel Durov has nothing to hide and travels frequently in Europe. It is absurd to claim that a platform or its owner are responsible for abuse on that platform. Yeah, I mean, it totally is absurd to claim they're responsible for it. Now, that doesn't mean you can't ask, like, there can be movements to get platforms to censor, like, kiddie porn and garbage like that. I have no problem with people having movements to do that. I don't think that the creator of the platform should be arrested for stuff that's done on the platform. I do think that if it is rife with the PORN, I just remember that I think if you say that word much on YouTube, they'll just like completely demonetize and destroy your video, even though you could be. It's just so stupid. The censorship is so garbage. Like, you can't even talk about Nazis, Germany's Nazis. You can't even talk about them anymore, which means you can't say bad things about them, or YouTube will demonetize you. So somehow the Nazis have succeeded in making it so that we're not allowed to say bad things about them on YouTube. How fucked up is that? How fucked up is that? The article continues, on the face of it, the arrest seems a sharp break from the norm. Governments have exchanged strong words with messaging platform providers before, but rarely have there been arrests. When platform operators do get arrested, as in the cases of Ross Ulbricht for Silk Road and Kim.com for Mega Upload, it tends to be because authorities can argue that the platform wouldn't even exist were it not for crime. And I don't think Kim.com should be arrested for that, by the way. But it is an interesting point that there's a difference between a platform that is made to allow crime. I mean, if you just created, like sextrafficking.tv, it's like, okay, well, you chose to make a criminal enterprise based on a website. That's a big difference from Telegram that is just allowing people to speak. And France and the US, and France probably did this at the behest of the US, is furious that people are allowed to speak. I think the bigger point here is you've seen them systematically go after each of the larger platforms that allow for us to criticize the US or the US empire or the proxy war in Ukraine or the genocide in Israel. You've seen them and go after individuals. Like, I had Richard Medhurst on the other day. They arrested him in the UK for speaking out against the genocide and for relaying the truth about that genocide. You've seen them go after individual reporters, but they also systematically have been taking down the platforms. And, they have an assortment of tricks. One is to arrest the CEO and just make him miserable, or in the case of WikiLeaks, the head of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, destroy their life and hope that destroys the platform. There's also just putting restrictions on it. The various laws that they're enacting that basically make it impossible for Rumble to operate, or they're trying to enact, even if all of them have not been enacted. What they did with TikTok, where they basically said, oh, well, TikTok's evil, so you just have to sell to U.S. billionaires like Steve Mnuchin, is just insane. This is all systematic. They're going after all of these things, all of the reporters that speak the truth, all the platforms that allow it. And I think everyone should be furious and speaking out and standing up against this and fighting back.